Everyone assumed the mother was guilty. The police assumed it was a plague spreading through the village. But the real murderer, she was the one everyone pitied, the one standing in the hospital crying beside the dying children, the one who seemed so devoted, so heartbroken. This is the story of premeditated evil disguised as compassion. And it all started with a love triangle that spiraled into one of the most disturbing poisoning cases of 2025. And this is the case that shocked an entire region of Egypt. A case that exposed how a desperate woman weaponized jealousy, greed, and pesticides into a plan so calculated, so cruel, that it took police 50 days to uncover the truth. But before we get to how 6 family members ended up in a hospital fighting for their lives, we need to understand how this tragedy was born. And it all comes down to a man named Hassan, a merchant with 2 women who wanted him for all the wrong reasons. Let's rewind to 2010, 15 years before the murders. Hassan was a successful trader, traveling across provinces, buying and selling goods. He was the kind of man who understood responsibility, someone with honor and principles. One day, while traveling through Beni Suef province, he saw a young woman named Amira working in the marketplace. She wasn't just beautiful. She was hardworking, independent, someone who understood the value of building a life with dignity. For Hassan, it was instant attraction. He did something that tradition required in that culture. He approached her family respectfully and asked for her hand in marriage. Amira came from good people, a family that valued honor, manners, and commitment. What Hassan didn't know at first was that Amira worked in the same trading business. They were, in a way, meant for each other. Both understood the work, both respected family. After Amira's family approved, Hassan and Amira were married in 2010. Now, in Middle Eastern cultures, especially in rural Egypt, marriage isn't just between 2 people. It's a merging of families. So keep that in mind, because this detail becomes crucial to understanding why Hassan's choices matter so much later. They moved to Hassan's home in Minya province, and for the first 15 years, they built something solid. They had 6 beautiful children together. Hassan was a devoted father. Amira was exactly what she wanted to be, a woman protecting her home, raising her children with care. Both families remained close and supportive. But then, something shifted. Around 2015, a woman named Hannah entered Hassan's life. From the moment Hannah saw Hassan, she became obsessed. She didn't care that he was married. She didn't care that he had 6 children. What she saw was successful trader, money, stability. Hannah was relentless. She used every manipulation tactic in the book. She showered Hassan with attention, made him feel special, and slowly, dangerously, she began to change how he treated his first wife and children. The love Hassan felt for his family became divided. But Hassan had something Hannah didn't have: principles. His own family loved Amira. They watched as Hassan grew distant, and they warned him. Hassan knew he couldn't abandon his responsibilities to his children, no matter how fascinated he was with Hannah. So Hassan made a choice. He would divorce Amira and marry Hannah instead. But, and here's where this gets important, Hassan kept his word about one thing. He continued financially supporting Amira and the children. He bought her an apartment in Beni Suef. He sent money regularly. In his mind, he was honoring his responsibilities to his first family while pursuing what he wanted with his second wife. But Amira never remarried. She never pressured Hassan financially. Why? Because Amira had something Hannah desperately wanted to understand but could never have: self-respect, dignity, class. And that dignity? That terrified Hannah.
Let me paint you a picture of Hannah. She wasn't stupid. In fact, what made her dangerous was that she was calculated. She understood something most of us don't: how to perform the role of a good woman while actually being something entirely different. When Hassan and Hana got married, Hana knew exactly what Hassan wanted. A wife who would accept his first family, who would help raise his children from his first marriage, who would look like she was graciously embracing her husband's past. So Hana performed. She volunteered to bring meals to Amira and the children. She baked bread. She seemed devoted. From the outside, she looked like the generous second wife. But inside, Hana was calculating every move. Here's what Hana noticed. Hana noticed Hassan started to regret his decision. He missed Amira. He realized that Amira had been his true partner, and Hana, while beautiful and attentive, wasn't capable of the deep, quiet love that builds a real marriage. One day, Hassan told Hana, "I want to bring Amira back. I want to reconcile with my first wife and be with my children." Can you imagine? After all Hana had done, all the manipulation, all the scheming, Hassan was ready to leave her for the woman he should never have left in the first place. Hana's response? She pretended to be understanding. She even suggested she would support Hassan getting back with Amira. She played the role of the noble second wife who wanted what was best for him. But beneath that performance, something twisted was growing in Hana's mind. What Hana was actually thinking was this: if Hassan leaves me, I lose everything. I lose the money, I lose the status, I lose Hassan. But if I can make sure Hassan never goes anywhere, if I can make sure his first wife and children are no longer an option, then he'll have to stay with me forever. Now remember I mentioned that Hana brought meals to Amira and the children regularly? Amira had noticed something strange about these meals. The food looked different. It smelled odd. Amira had even suspected Hana of putting a curse or some kind of magic in the food to separate her from Hassan. If only it had been magic. Magic would have been easier to fight. Amira had actually noticed something real. The truth about Hana was even darker than Amira's suspicions. While Amira was worried about curses and spells, spiritual threats, Hana was planning something physical, something lethal, something that would leave no trace. Now here's my question for you. At what point do you think Hana made the decision to go from jealousy to murder? Was it when she first met Hassan, or was it only when she realized he was going to leave her? Think about that. Meanwhile, Hana was also trying to manipulate Hassan into trusting her completely. She would offer to deliver food to Amir and the children herself. Hassan, trying to avoid tension and keep the peace, agreed. He wanted to avoid direct conflict. He didn't want his children to feel caught in the middle. So Hana began delivering meals regularly. From Hana's apartment to Amira's apartment, from the woman who secretly despised her to the woman who had no idea what was coming. Amira was polite but distant. She kept the interaction professional, limited. She didn't want her children to get too comfortable with Hana. She still had hope that one day Hassan might realize his mistake and come home. But Hana was watching. Hana was planning. And Hana was about to cross a line that no one could have predicted. Because what happened next wasn't a crime of passion. It wasn't something spontaneous or desperate. What happened next was orchestrated, calculated, and it would end with 6 people dead, a whole village in terror, and police investigators scrambling to solve a mystery that looked impossible. Let's jump to July 2025, the moment everything changed.
July 2025, early morning. Hana woke up with a plan fully formed in her mind. She was going to the marketplace, she was going to buy groceries, and then she was going to do something unspeakable. She bought fresh vegetables. She purchased bread flour. She went home and began baking bread. Homemade, delicious-looking bread. But here's the detail that makes this truly horrifying. Mixed into that dough was a highly potent agricultural pesticide, a chemical so toxic that just a small amount can cause organ failure. And here's the worst part. This pesticide was specifically designed to be invisible. It leaves no taste. It leaves no color. Standard medical tests can't detect it. You need specialized equipment, forensic-grade equipment, to find it. Most hospitals don't have that equipment. Hannah knew this. How? We don't know for certain, but it's clear this woman had researched, planned, and prepared for this moment. She arrived at Amira's apartment in the afternoon, carrying the bread and vegetables. She was smiling, she was friendly, she was playing a role. She prepared lunch for her children, rice, meat, and vegetables, and she placed the bread that Hannah had brought alongside the meal. Her 6 children, Omar 9 years old, Reem, Mohammed, Ahmed, Farah, and Rahmat 14 years old, the oldest, sat down to eat together. Amira didn't eat the bread. Her maternal instinct, even if she didn't fully understand it, kept her away from this particular meal. The children noticed something immediately. The bread tasted strange, off, wrong. They mentioned it to their mother. Amira reassured them, not knowing, not comprehending what she was reassuring them about. Within 45 minutes, the first child began to show symptoms: high fever, abdominal pain, tremors throughout the body, confusion. Then the second child, then the third, then the fourth. Within hours, all 6 children were showing the same terrifying symptoms. Amira rushed them to a local doctor who, seeing 6 children from the same family collapsing simultaneously, immediately suspected poisoning. They were transferred to the specialized hospital in Deir Moas, a larger facility equipped for emergencies. By the time they arrived, 3 of the children were in critical condition: Omar, Reen, and Mohammed. Unconscious, high fevers exceeding 43 degrees Celsius, over 109 degrees Fahrenheit, white foam from their mouths, every vital sign screaming emergency. The hospital staff was baffled. 3 more children arrived the next day with the same symptoms: Ahmed, Farah, and Rahma. And then Hassan himself arrived at a separate hospital showing identical symptoms: high fevers, seizures, organ dysfunction. For the medical teams, this was a nightmare scenario. They'd never seen anything like this. Was it a contagious disease, a virus, some kind of plague starting to spread in their region? Word spread through the village. Fear spread like wildfire. Within days, conspiracy theories were flying. Some people believed a curse had been placed on Hassan's family. Others thought a deadly plague was emerging in their region and would soon spread to the entire country. Parents kept their children inside, terrified. The MIH Ministry of Health had to issue an official statement denying that any plague or epidemic existed. Can you imagine how dire the situation had to be for the government to issue a public denial? But the hospital doctors were running test after test: blood tests, urine tests, x-rays, toxicology screenings. Everything came back negative for known poisons. And then, one by one, the children started dying. Mohammed, age 9, died first, then Reem, then Farah, then Rahma, the oldest, the one who'd been conscious enough to tell doctors what they'd eaten. Rahma said the same thing. We ate bread and vegetables and rice. My mother cooked the rice and meat. Hannah brought the bread. And after we ate it, something felt wrong. This single statement changed everything. The police arrived. The forensic team arrived. They took samples. They tested the apartment where the meal was prepared. And when they compared the samples from the kitchen to the samples taken from the children's stomach contents during autopsy, they matched perfectly. Someone had poisoned that bread intentionally. The initial suspect? The mother, Amira. After all, she prepared the meal. She'd served it. The police arrested her. But here's where this gets interesting. The police also learned that Amira didn't eat the bread. Amira only ate the rice and meat and vegetables. So why would a mother poison her own children but not eat the poisoned bread herself? That question kept nagging at investigators. At this point in the investigation, the evidence seemed to point one direction. But if you've been paying attention, you already know who did it. Think about who really benefited from this tragedy, who had the motive, who had the opportunity, who had the knowledge of that specific poison.
The interrogations continued. Amira was in shock. Her children were dying. She was questioned while her world was literally falling apart in a hospital. And she kept saying the same thing. I didn't do this. I wouldn't. I couldn't. But Hannah, something about those meals always felt wrong. The police listened, they investigated, and slowly the timeline became clearer. Hannah had been the one delivering meals to Amira's apartment regularly. Hannah had been the one suggesting Hassan let her help with family obligations. Hannah had been the one who had motive, jealousy, fear of abandonment, desperation to keep Hassan under her control. But Hannah was smart. She knew that if she simply gave poisoned food to Amira and the children, she'd be the obvious suspect. So she did something even more calculated. She positioned herself as the devoted second wife. She showed up at the hospital. She cried beside the dying children. She attended their funerals. She performed grief so convincingly that people actually felt sorry for her. But the forensic evidence didn't lie. When police searched Hannah's apartment, they found the mixing bowls. They found the utensils. They found traces of the same pesticide used on the bread. And when they compared the chemical composition to samples from the children's autopsy results, everything matched. Hannah was arrested. At first, she denied everything, but eventually confronted with the forensic evidence, with the chemical analysis, with the undeniable proof, she confessed. Yes, she said, I poisoned them. I mixed the pesticide into the bread dough. I brought it to them. I wanted Hassan to be mine. I wanted Amira gone. I wanted the children gone. I couldn't bear the thought of Hassan going back to his first wife, so I did what I had to do. 6 people died. 1 man, 5 children. All because a woman was jealous. All because a woman felt threatened by a first wife who had nothing but dignity. But here's what makes this even more disturbing. Hannah was pregnant, due to give birth within weeks of her arrest. The police faced an impossible ethical situation. They released her into home confinement under heavy guard to give birth. She had a baby boy while under house arrest, a child who would grow up knowing that his mother murdered his father and his siblings. Today, the case is ongoing. Hannah's trial continues. The Egyptian justice system is moving forward. But for Amira, Hassan's first wife, the woman with dignity and self-respect, the pain doesn't move forward at all. It stays frozen in that moment when she realized her children ate poisoned bread. She survived. She lost everything else, but she survived. This story is the kind of case that makes you question human nature. It makes you wonder, how does jealousy transform into this level of evil? How does someone convince themselves that murdering an entire family is justified? So here's my question for you. Do you think evil is born or created? Is Hannah simply a monster, or did jealousy and desperation warp her mind into monstrosity? Think about that and share your thoughts in the comments below. If this case disturbed you the way it disturbed me, if you found yourself emotionally invested in Amira's story and horrified by Hannah's actions, then you need to subscribe to this channel because I cover cases like this. Real crimes, real people, real consequences. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and next you're going to want to watch the video I've linked about another shocking poisoning case that shocked an entire nation. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.